deal with it. And going to work is not a coping mechanism.
It's just an avoidance.
Yeah, going back to work.
At some point, you still got to live with yourself afterwards.
Yeah, going back to work and go back to your way of life is not a coping mechanism because it's still there. Actually, it's worse now because now you have to work and do everything else plus. It doesn't.
But why didn't you do it before? Because you were mad.
I didn't feel like it. Yeah. If you're mad at somebody, I'm not going to love you because I don't feel.
You're not going to tell somebody because you don't feel it.
I don't feel it. I don't know. I probably should have listened to you in back that night to watch him die, but I didn't. I didn't want to go back to see that. So he died alone in that room, and I feel kind of guilty about that because even though he treated us bad, I don't think he should have died alone. But I don't think he died alone specifically because he knew we were there. Out there that he was in pain.
Right, but he still would go outside. He wouldn't go in the yard.
Yeah,
but he would still go sit in his little chair.
Correct.
On the patio.
Even if it was for like an hour, he'd sit and go back and lie down on the bed. So he
lived in his own way. He lived life by his terms.
Yeah.
I mean, that's what I saw.
Hey guys, if it's crazy,
all right, go now.
Wait.
Get in there! Oh my God!
Hey guys, welcome to the family mess. I'm Noah, and have a nice day.
Good God!
I love the family mess. Oh.
Welcome to the Family Mess Podcast. I'm your host, Ian, and this is my wife and co-host, Natalie. The Family Mess, the podcast about life with teens and all things adulting. Let's talk.
What happened to the kids?
What do you mean, what happened to the kids?
It's supposed to be, it was life with kids and all things.
They're not kids anymore. They're teens. We have to change our podcast, so we're doing teens now because they've been teens for several years now. So podcast with teens and all things adulting. We'll probably change that too eventually once they become adults.
Okay.
So, yes, everybody, we're back on another great episode of The Family Mess. Where have we been the last 3 weeks?
We've been dealing with death and went to a podcast convention.
Yeah, we could start that out first. We attended it. We were there for about a week, and we learned a lot about
a lot about podcasting. Man, that was fun.
I didn't know there's so much to learn about that damn thing.
I sure did not either.
We have a lot of work to do on our podcast, but we met some very interesting people out there, and I hope. I guess we can invite them.
The one thing I did like though about the podcast convention is that like I'm used to like going to telecom conventions, and telecom conventions like you don't talk to anybody that you don't know, or unless you're talking to like someone at a booth. But at this convention, if you're talking to someone, they tell you to walk up and just get in the conversation.
Yeah,
and people did that a lot.
If you're an introvert, don't come to these conferences because you're not going to like it.
That was I think that was very refreshing. I enjoyed that people were open to talk because I've go to other conferences and I never really meet people because unless they're the people at the booths because no one seems receptive to talking to anyone.
Well, most conferences are that way. They're set up to where you don't just go up and talk to people. You just walk the booth, talk to somebody. You may run into somebody you know, but other than that, you're not. You don't walk up to people and just talk to them.
That's missing out on a huge opportunity for connection and networking.
It really is. I mean, the podcast people have figured out a way to connect and to make networking like a real deal at those conventions. I mean, at first I didn't like it because I'm not used to it, but once I saw that it was working, I was like, oh, I could just talk to anybody. So I just kind of went up to like a couple people, not a lot because I'm still not used to it, but I did go up to a couple people and just start talking to them. So, and everybody was pretty receptive.
Yeah, I thought that was very refreshing. So it was good and refreshing as well to get a break.
Yes.
For a week, we took a week to go to the conference after having, unfortunately to bury your dad. Ian.
Yes.
So it was good to be able to take that break after, dealing with all of the death and the services and all that kind of stuff. Yeah. So that's kind of segues into what we're talking about today.
Yeah.
So what are we talking about, Ian?
How I dealt with the death of my father. All the feelings and the mental, I don't know. I almost can't talk about it, but how I dealt with, how I am dealing with his passing is really what this podcast is about. Because let's just say I didn't think I'd feel the way I did as I'm feeling now.
Right. So everybody goes through and feels, experiences death in their own way.
I think I'm going to start crying. This is weird. Go ahead.
Everybody does do that. So all you can do is talk about your experience and share your experience, and hopefully maybe it'll help somebody else.
Yeah. It's so I really wanted to help somebody who's.
So what was the relationship between you and your dad? Like you got to give a little background.
A little background. I born in Jamaica, obviously, and I grew up with my dad the first 5 or 6 years of my life, and I hung out with my dad all the time. I followed him around, just like any kid would follow his father around. Really loved my dad. And I'd follow him to church. He was a farmer, so I'd stay with him on the farm while he planted plants, pulled plants, and would take it to the market. And then we moved to the States. And I remember as a kid following him to a couple of his jobs, painting jobs. But things changed when I became a teenager, and I believe that's when our relationship started to change, when I became a teenager.
And what do you think caused that?
I don't know if it was me or him, but he became more angry. I don't know if it was life in general, but he just became an angry individual. Just started yelling a lot, spending a lot of money that could have helped us, me and my sister and my mom at the time, but he didn't really spend any money on us, just kind of spent it on himself and trying to get things going for him. So we struggled a lot in my teenage years, but me and my dad just got further and further apart as I became a teenager, and it didn't get any better when I got into college. He got very depressed for a while, and I didn't talk to him for, I kept in contact with him, but, things just got progressively worse as I got older. And, then we came back from college and helped.
But didn't you, kind of backtrack a little, your parents split up like when you were like in middle school?
When I was 13,
and then you lived with your dad?
Yeah, it was weird. Yeah, my mom and dad lived together for a couple of years separated, and then I lived with my dad when my mom moved out, probably for another 3 years.
That's what through college, after high school.
Yeah, in college before I went off.
Before
I went off to university, I lived with him for like 2.5 years, 3 years, and then I went off. So during that time, I was just a young man in my 21, so I was just going out. I didn't really hang out with him. I just went home to sleep, and I had a job, so I'd go home to sleep and then go to work. That was it. Go to school, go to work, and I'd see him, but we wouldn't talk. So that was our relationship all until college, and after college, just didn't talk. He didn't talk to me, and I just didn't have any reason to talk to him. So that was pretty much my whole adult relationship, was a dad that really wasn't there. And once he went to Jamaica, he just didn't talk to us anymore.
So then he moved away from Florida to Jamaica.
Yes. And once he moved to Jamaica, that was it. We didn't hear from him at all, just for long stints until he started getting sick. And that's when we started hearing from him again.
I don't remember that being the case when he would come to see the kids.
That's when he was sick. I'm telling you. That's when he was. Before that, he wouldn't come up.
Oh.
It was when he'd come up and then he'd start getting sick. That's when he kind of started coming up more. He would come up every now and then, but it was when he started getting sick is when he started doing it more and more. Before that, it probably like once a year, maybe. Maybe he'd come up for his visa. Is it a visa or passport? Whatever you have to come up.
He doesn't have to. He's a citizen. He didn't have to do anything.
Yeah. So it just progressed. Our relationship just progressively got worse into my adulthood, and you know how the rest goes after that.
How does the rest go, Ian?
What do you mean? He just my dad was all the males listening, even females listening out there with fathers. Communication's a huge thing, especially with sons. And sons look up to their dad, but my dad just wasn't that guy. Just wasn't there. And I think you and I have had these conversations, and you've told me this, and I think I can hear you in my damn ear saying, Ian, meet your dad where he is, because he only had what he had, and he's doing the best that he can do. But I don't care. I mean, I know how I feel, and for a long time I just felt hurt. I just felt hurt because I didn't feel loved. Luckily, I had another man step in and help raise me a little bit to fill that void, but I didn't feel loved for a while. I just felt like I was just helping him, but I didn't receive any help from him. So it was very frustrating growing up and dealing with him. And now, these last couple of weeks going into his death and then he died, I think I'm more messed up now than I was before when he was alive.
But I'm going to backtrack a little bit. So when you say like parents, so that's one of the things I do say, because one of the things as a child or even as an adult, a child of your parent, even as an adult, we tend to hold on to things like, oh, my parent did this and my parent did that. And the thing about parents they are, their shit stinks just like anybody else's, right? We don't want their shit to stink, but it does. Like everybody got shit and it all stinks. Like there's no exception to that, right? I mean, I've told my own children, like, I'm going to give you trauma. I'm sorry.
I always thought that was crazy.
I'm sorry that I've given you this trauma, but I don't know what trauma I'm going to give you. But there's going to be something in your life that I did that you're going to carry with you and say, oh, my parent did this to me.
That's true.
But at the end of the day, the thing that people have to realize, or I always say, for me, this was where I got with it, is your parents do the best they can with what they have. Not every parent is capable of learning to do better. You would hope they are, but they're not, because they're human. Like, and you would hope that they would make good decisions on your behalf, but they don't always do. But for me, I'm like, I can't carry that burden forever. Like, all I can do is control what I can control. And if my parent was crappy, which unfortunately for me, I did have good parents, so I guess maybe I shouldn't be talking about that. But my mom did things too. There were times where I didn't want to deal with my mother. So my mom and I had our own thing that we went through. Yeah. Everybody, like I said, everybody does, because no parent shit doesn't stink. So there's always something that you do to your child that child will carry that is hurtful to them. Yeah. There's always something. Even if the parent tried to be the best parent ever, there's going to be something that you did to your child at some point where they're going to carry that hurt. But that's the thing for the child, though, to be able to look at it, reflect back and say, you know what, my parent did the best they could. You don't have to understand it. You don't have to like it. But you just have to come to that realization for yourself that they did what they could do. And, you know, maybe he wasn't loved. Why he couldn't love you. Some parents can learn and adjust. Others of us just perpetuate what we've already, what we've learned. Right. So either you break the chain or you keep carrying on what your dad did. Right. So I'm not saying it's right or wrong. Right. But I understand why you say you're hurt by your dad. But that's just one of the things that in order for you to heal for yourself and to grow, in a way you have to come to that, or I feel like I had to come to that realization about my mom. Like, you know, either I accept her for who she is and the best she did, the best that she could, or I just don't mess with her. I just don't talk to her. I just leave her be. But I mean, I chose to forgive my mom and to, you know, and to have a relationship with her, because I realized there's some things that ain't gonna change. She was just not gonna change. So that was that. Right.
I do remember you having conversations with me about your mom. You get so frustrated at her.
Yeah, but I had to come to the realization, like, she did the best she could. She wasn't she tried to do right.
She did.
But but as a kid, you're going to get some kind of trauma from your parents. So there were things that I didn't like that she did. And I had to figure out how to either accept it or don't bother with her. And that's it, you know, but for you with your dad, you know, why do you feel like you were so angry? Because I know you've said you were angry at him. Like, why were you so angry?
I think when I try to think about it now, as that he's gone, and I think I even talked to my sister about this, I think what I've been going through my whole life is, you know, when you love someone, but you don't get love back, like you're putting out, trying to help the person, and you always help them, no matter how much you help them, but there's nothing ever back from them. Nothing. Not even a thank you, just they to keep going. And I think that's what it was my entire life. Well, not my whole life, but pretty much my teenage years and up. I was looking for love from a father, and I didn't get it. It was so I can look back at it now and realize I was very angry, but I think I was more hurt. I was more hurt than angry. So of course it's going to come out as anger when you look at it. But I was very hurt, you know, and I wanted my father to love me the way I thought I should be loved, and I didn't get it. So maybe that's why I'm feeling this way now. Because now he's gone, I can't do nothing about it. I'm just trying to deal with what I'm feeling. But I didn't think I'd feel like this. I thought once he passed, I'd be happy and I'd be moving on with life and things would be fine, right? But it's not, man. It's very weird.
Well, it's because you have feelings.
I think my sister
and
said
you're
it.
Conflicted with. It's a very when you have a parent that you have bad feelings for, but they're still your parent. So it's like you want to not like them, but at the same time, there's this thing in you that likes them or loves them or cares for them because they're your parent.
It's really weird because no matter how much you try to, you know, get it out, it's a very conflicting feeling. I even told my sister, I'm like, I don't love this guy. He annoys me. And she's like, you're really not telling the truth. I'm like, what are you talking about? Like, I was mad. She goes, well, you love him. And it's obvious by your actions because you're the only one that's going out there 3 or 4 times a week driving, cutting his hair, doing all this stuff. And when she said it, I just got quiet. I'm like, damn, I didn't even. So even though I was saying one thing, my actions were showing something else. And that's what she told me. I was like, and when she told me that, I just got quiet. Because, I mean, I didn't have nothing to say.
I was very confused.
Why were you confused?
I'm not going to say I wasn't, because you would talk like, oh my God, I got to do, you know, like it was a lot for you to have to deal with him.
It was a lot.
And because you didn't care for him. Not you didn't care, but the love wasn't there between the two of you.
No, it wasn't.
And so you would say things. So I was like, okay, all right. And then you would act differently. And I was like, just like when you got upset with me because for months while your dad was sick, you're like, I'm not having a funeral. I'm not doing anything. He's just going to die and he's going to get cremated and that's it. I'm like, okay. And then all of a sudden you're like, oh, we're having a funeral and we're doing this. And I'm like, that's not what you said all these months you've been saying all these things. And then now you're like totally like, with a 180.
Yeah.
Right.
That's
so,
true.
I mean, but
yeah.
But that, I guess once it gets real,
that's
then
what
it's
it is.
a different.
I think that's what it is. Once everything was not real until it was real. I can't describe it.
Right, but you didn't mention like your dad. He died of cancer. He had cancer.
Yeah, he had,
and he died of cancer.
Yeah, he died of cancer
at 85.
At 85 years old, and it's tough, man. I didn't think I didn't think watching somebody die like that was going to be that bad, but it was.
Well, I feel like in a way, like you were so angry with him that you wanted him to hurt. Like you wanted.
I did.
But then when you saw how bad it was
worse than
you were like, oh, I don't want this for anybody.
Nah, man.
But
at
first, the time,
I did.
You were like, yes, he's sick because he was mean and he was a horrible dad to me, and he made me feel like this.
Were you in my head? What the hell, man?
It's a natural response.
Shit, man.
When you're hurt
it's like you were there.
Well,
damn.
When you're hurt by somebody, it's a natural response that you want them to hurt too because you're hurt.
Yeah,
I
did.
But in reality, unless you're like a psychopath, but unless you're like a psychopath, you really don't. When you don't really want them to hurt. You want them to feel a little bit of pain that you felt, but you don't want them to feel deep pain.
No.
So,
what I saw the last 2 weeks and the last couple of days, I don't even wish him my worst enemy, and that's why I need to get counseling because I can still see his face. Like everything, I keep replaying it in my head.
So why do you think it bothers you so much?
I felt like I probably should have done more. I don't know. I probably should have listened to you back that night to watch him die, but I didn't. I didn't want to go back to see that. So he died alone in that room, and I feel kind of guilty about that. Because even though he treated us bad, I don't think he should have died alone. But I don't think he died alone specifically because he knew we were there for, you were there that night before. The night he died
hours.
In the
morning. And
we were there hours. We were there. We left at like 7 or 8, and then he died in the morning like at 6. But so he knew. I mean, we were there, and we were there for 3 or 4 days out of the week leading up to his death. So he knew we were there, and he was crying and all these things. So he knew that we were there and we cared about him. So at least he had that to take with him before he passed. But I'm not gonna lie, man. Those last 2 days are still playing in my head. I can still see his face. I can still feel him breathing. It was weird, man. And I looked in his eyes. Don't look in the eye of a dying person, by the way.
What is it that you experienced with that?
I think I saw myself. It was weird. I'm just looking at this dead person, not dead, but dying person. He was dying, but the problem is they put him on so much pain medicine. There's like nothing there. Just looking at him, but he's just gone. Just you're looking at his eyes, and he's trying to talk, but he couldn't talk. So it was really. I think it was really.
What did you take from that situation?
Oh no, I think it still bothers me a little bit.
So do you regret going and being there?
No, I don't regret it, but I don't think anybody should go and watch that because it sucks. Because he's still my dad, so you kind of. But I think with anybody that you love, you're going to want to be there when they pass. But you don't expect. It's never what they show on TV. By the way, it's totally different.
Well, I mean, it's also in the way in which he died of cancer.
Yeah.
So
the cancer.
he had colon cancer, colorectal cancer.
So the cancer made it worse than what it would have been if he didn't have cancer. So and
also the medicine because they dope you up with stuff.
Yeah. So towards the end, they just put you on a whole bunch of pain medicine, and so the day, but I think 2-3 days before, my sister and I were there, and he was fine. He was talking, and I think that's the one time I saw him ever at peace was like 3 days before he like died. Like he was smiling, he was talking to us.
But that's I don't know I forgot what they call that.
What
but
is that?
There's a few days before someone dies where they get all of a sudden they get a whole burst of energy, and it's like they're totally okay.
Yeah.
For like a day.
Yeah.
And then the next day they begin to decline.
Yeah.
Into
Like
death.
he got up in the bed, he talked to us, he laughed with us, he was making jokes with us. I mean, it was weird. And
I forgot the name of that.
I know what you're talking about, but my sister and I like noticed a shift. Like and the nurse told us, hey, he doesn't have. I think that day she's like, he doesn't have much time left. Like she told us that, so we kind of knew When we come back, it's probably going to be worse. So we came back a day and a half later after he came out of the hospital after another procedure, and that was it. He wasn't even the same person. Like he was, you could tell like this is it. This dude only has, because he couldn't breathe good. That's what it was. Like he was laying in the bed. And if you ever have a loved one that's in hospice, the way you know they're going to die is when they put the bed up, depending on if they're in your house or not. If it's in a facility, they put the bed up, and they put these things at the side so the patient can't come out of the bed anymore. That's the first time we ever saw that. Before, these things were always down so he could move. They were up, and the bed was up so you could like walk up to the bed. So, and then he was up. He was elevated. So they're preparing for him to die. So there's a whole thing that they do. And as soon as we walked up, you could tell he just wasn't, like very shallow breathing. So we kind of knew that it was time. It still sucks. I still think about it, so I need help.
Yeah, so why haven't you been to get help?
I've been looking for a good therapist in there just to talk to.
Oh, well, that's good.
I've been looking. I've been looking on my health plan. I usually don't do it, but I think I have to. Even though I admit to myself, I kind of have to get some help and talk about this. I don't think what I'm feeling is normal. It might be normal, but I don't have a coping mechanism right now to try to deal with it. And going to work is not a coping mechanism.
It's just an avoidance.
Yeah, going back to work. At some point,
you still got to live with yourself afterwards.
Yeah, going back to work and go back to your way of life is not a coping mechanism because it's still there. Actually, it's worse now because now you have to work and do everything else. Plus, you have...
you have to walk around and pretend like nothing happened. But inside you're like, oh, this sucks.
Yeah, I was cleaning the room today, and I just that's why I had to get rid of his clothes because I could smell them. So the first thing I did after I got back from our trip was I got rid of all his clothes, and I threw out his old clothes. I just got rid of them because the smell was starting to bother me. It didn't smell bad. Right.
But he had his own cologne. Everyone has their smell.
Yeah, he had a specific smell,
Yeah.
and I was starting to it was starting to make me emotional. So I was like, so I put all his clothes in a garbage bag and I threw them out.
Oh wow!
And the rest of the clothes he had were like nice, clean clothes. So I'm going to give those away. But the ones that had a scent, I was like, I can't, I can't hold on to this. But it was weird. My sister wanted to keep a shirt. It was a particular shirt that he wore in a lot of his pictures. She goes, I need that shirt. I said, what? You want that shirt? She goes, I said, that shirt? She goes, yes, I want that shirt. So she wants to keep a shirt.
Right. Yeah, that's a memento. Yeah.
So I found another shirt, so I'm going to keep a shirt of his also.
But how was it taking care of him while you're conflicted?
It was hard because I didn't want to take care of him. So I was the only one who was taking care of my dad, the last year? Everything.
Well, the last few years, but the last year especially since he got diagnosed with cancer.
Really by myself, really. And thank you so much for helping me with the food and helping him. And I told my sister I appreciate her cooking, but I was the primary caregiver for him pretty much the final year. I don't think he even lived a year.
He got diagnosed like in October.
Yeah, so he almost made it. But let's just say the last 9-10 months, I was the last person to really take care of him almost every day. Go to the hospital, medicine. And it was tough because I didn't want him to give up on his life, but he just gave up so easily. And that made me so frustrated because even though he was frustrating, I didn't want him to die. And we were getting into a pretty good relationship where we could talk, we could laugh. And, it was working, but every time he'd get sick, he'd just give up. He'd just immediately give up on life, and he's just like, I want to die. Am I lying, Natalie, how many times did he say he wants to die?
Well, yeah.
I mean, he would just say it so much.
He was mad when my mom died and he hadn't died yet.
That's what I'm saying. He was mad that your mom died before him, and then why couldn't God take him? And I heard him say that over the last 8 or 9 months, and it just killed me. He's a pastor, and then he just gave up on life as soon as he was diagnosed. No fight at all.
Yeah, but he just was. Well, see, that just shows his humanness, right? He wasn't as strong as you would think as your dad.
As the faith, the faith that he believed, he did not show that. And I'm not mad at him for not showing that. A lot of people around him were using that against him. Oh, this man of God, why doesn't he have more faith? That has nothing to do with it when you're dying. When you're dying, you go through human emotions and you're scared. And he was totally scared when he was dying. So, I saw all this, and I'm extremely conflicted, not about me, but because I've just never seen this happen before. And it's very difficult to deal with. I would say anybody who's dealing with or dealing with a parent that's dying, talk to them every single day. Tell them you love them. If you have any feelings of animosity, it won't matter when they're dead. Trust me. if you got to work out something, just do it now, because it's just going to stay with you. You're going to feel guilt for not doing something or not reacting to something sooner. Then you start blaming yourself for, maybe if I took him to the doctor a year earlier, he wouldn't have the cancer. You know what I mean? You start going through all these scenarios in your head, and it's really not your fault, but that's how you feel. And I really wish my dad didn't die of cancer. I kind of wish he was alive still. I do, even though he was a pain in the ass. As I got older, I after listening to you a lot, I really began to realize that's who he was, and I wasn't mad. Towards the end there, I wasn't mad at him. I was just frustrated that he was sick and he was giving up on himself. That's what frustrated me the most, that he was giving up on his own life. I know he had cancer, but he just gave up. Like, he really just, once the doctor diagnosed him and said, hey, you have 6 months, he gave up. There was a shift in his attitude. And from that diagnosis, I almost wish the doctor.
Yeah, but he also, I mean, we didn't mention it. He also had an ostomy bag, and that deeply affected him. Having a bag, the bag that collects
that is probably the
because
most,
he had surgery.
That is, yeah.
There's a bag. Ostomy bag is a bag that you have to. It collects your poop, because he was not. He could still poop, but he couldn't always poop regular. Sometimes it had to go in the bag
because the tumor was so big. He had to go in the bag now.
The blocking the
so,
path.
Thank you, Natalie, for mentioning that, because that's the most important thing out of all of this is once he got that bag put on, he didn't care about life anymore. He told me and my sister this. He goes, I don't want to live.
Well, yes, because
this is what he told us.
It lost a part of his manhood.
My dad is used to going out in public. He would go into the garden, and as soon as he got that ostomy bag put on, he said, I don't really care about it. He did not. It's not that he didn't care about life. You could see in his actions, he didn't care about nothing anymore. Like, to him, he would rather be dead. And he told us this, I would rather be dead than living right now with this bag. And he's believed that all the way up until he died. His life was never the same.
He didn't know how to live with the bag.
He would never accepted it. He just had it, and it was there, but he never accepted it ever until he died. Ever. Just, he hated it. I could hear him praying for God for him to be healed. I could hear him at nighttime praying for him. He thought the bag was going away. I knew the bag wasn't going away, but that's what I heard the last 9 months of his life. So it's a little conflict, but like I said, I'm going to find a counselor to talk to and see what they can do for me.
All right. Well, I think you made the best choice, though, and at least, even though you had animosity towards your dad, that you still took care of him. I think that that's commendable. I think that's a good thing that you were able to do that for yourself and for your dad. Because when you have to live with that regret after, knowing that you didn't help the person at all, even though you had those feelings, like I live by the rule of I do what's right even when it's what's hard. That's how I try to live my life. Even when doing what's right is the harder thing to do, but that's what I'm going to do because that's what's right. And at the end of the day, you can typically live with yourself a little better when you do what's right versus when you do what you want to do.
You're right.
What comes natural to you, or that kind of thing.
I have to admit, I don't feel any guilt about taking care of him because I know I was there. So that I don't feel guilty of. I think all my feelings come from is just him, just watching him give up. I don't know why that bothered. That's why I yelled at the kids the other day about giving up. It wasn't about the kids, it was about my dad. He always told me, don't ever give up. And then I watched him give up all the way till he passed. And I think that's what messed me up. Because he always taught me, don't ever give up.
But, I mean, what do you think not giving up would have looked like for him?
I don't keep fighting a little harder, but I guess
Fight
he did.
harder and do what?
I mean,
what is he supposed to do? He was alive. He lived. He got up every day. He put his clothes on.
I don't know,
man.
man.
What fight is he supposed to have, knowing he had a terminal illness that he was trying to fight, that, he was praying for God to take it away.
Yeah.
But he still knew it was terminal, and the bag was still there.
I guess that's just something I have to figure out. I guess I'm just making up a story like what you said. It's not something that's real. So I probably just need to figure out what's going on. And you're right. He probably did the best he could.
Yeah, because when
it's all said and done,
if he gave up, he'd be laying in that bed every day. He still got up. He still went outside. What he had energy to do, he did. He still went in the garden sometimes if he had the energy to walk that far to get. So he gave up in a way of living life by the way we think we should live life.
Yeah.
But he lived life on his own terms for what worked for him.
Why are you so smart? You just say these things. I'm like, you're damn right. That's 100% right.
Because he liked the garden. He liked to be outside.
The garden was being outside, and the garden was his life. And I knew when he couldn't go out there that he was in pain.
Right, but he still would go outside. He wouldn't
Yes.
go in the yard.
Yeah,
but
that's
he would
correct.
still go sit in his little chair.
Correct.
On the patio.
Even if it was for like an hour,
Yeah.
he'd sit and go back and lie down on the bed. So he
lived in his own way. He lived life by his
Yeah,
terms.
yeah.
I mean, that's what I saw.
No,
from me.
I think now you've kind of hit the nail on the head with that one in him. You now that you say it, and I'm thinking about it, that's exactly what he did. He did what he wanted to do, how he wanted to do it. Even though I might not have liked that, that's what he wanted to do.
Right.
So I think that's what's the most important lesson here is all I could do is just be there for him. And that's what I did.
And you did that. You took
Yeah.
care of him. I mean, you changed his ostomy bag. Like I was like, I took care even before the ostomy
man.
bag. I told Ian, like, I'm not taking care of your dad. Like
I had to take care of bodily fluids.
This is your dad.
Doo-doo. I know more about now I'm not afraid of this anymore. Now that I've gone through it, this is weird. Now that I've gone through it with him, changing the bag, I can do whatever. At one point, there's shit everywhere in a bed, and I had to clean it up and change it, but you have to do it. Like,
Well, no, you didn't have to, but you chose to.
Yeah, you're right. I didn't have to do it, but I didn't want to see my dad suffering like that,
Right,
so I
you
helped
chose.
him.
Right, you chose to
Yeah.
do the right thing.
I never wanted to see my dad in a situation, even though he was an asshole, and he was, and all his relatives will say that. He's a pain in the ass. I never wanted to see him suffer at all. No matter how mean he was to me or how much he yelled, I couldn't stand by and watch him suffer, even emotionally. So I would make sure to do everything I could to make sure he had a decent life. Everything I could. I'd take him to the store. I'd take him on long road trips with us. I always asked him, where do you want to go? Do you want to go here? And I would do everything in my power to make sure that his life, as he got older, that he was enjoying his life. I mean, he loved his grandkids, especially our oldest.
Yeah, I mean,
loved them.
like I said, I think he lived,
He did.
on his own terms,
You're right.
and he did what worked for him, and that's the biggest thing. Like that's for me about life, and that's why I let my mom do what she did. When she had the dementia, she didn't want to get treatment. She didn't want to do. I said, you know what? This is your life, and I'm going to allow you to live it
And you did.
how you wanted to live it.
And you did.
And I'm okay with that. Like I'm okay with how it transpired because it was what she wanted.
Yeah.
Like that was her choice at the time, right or wrong, or what I believe.
Well, you were the one that was taking
for
care
her.
of, but you're the one that was taking care of her too, so you know what she wanted.
Right, but yeah, then that's what I always tried to oblige what she wanted. So it's the same way, like, I feel like your dad did what worked for him. It didn't always make sense to the rest of us how he did things.
No,
but
man.
but that's part of allowing people. We always try to put everybody in these boxes, and we want to stop people from being who they truly are at heart. Like,
You're right.
and as long as what you're doing is not intentionally inflicting pain on another person, then I'm gonna let you do you. Like they say, do you, boo? I'm gonna let you do you. Like whatever that looks like.
I still remember your mom dancing that one Christmas. I'll never forget it.
My mom was grinding with the wall, man. That was the whole room just stopped.
Oh,
But,
I loved it. I loved your mom. That was the funniest thing I ever saw in my life. I'm like, oh my gosh.
But that was because the dementia and the music was music
it was taking
from
her
when
back to
take
when
her
she was
back to
younger.
when she was young.
Oh,
Yes,
she was freaking when she
so
was
yeah,
younger
so
too.
yeah,
That's crazy.
she was a little she was a little freaky on the dance
That's
floor.
what I'm saying,
probably
man.
back
She's
then.
moving her hips. I'm like, oh my gosh.
So, like, to close
Yeah.
out the show here, is there anything that you wanted to tell your dad that you didn't?
I did tell him I love him right before I left and before he died. I said, I love you, Dad.
And what's the significance of that?
Because I never told him I loved him in my adult life before that.
Oh, okay.
And I waited till he died to tell him, which is crazy. Because of that, if I had a chance, I would do it many more times before waiting till he died to do it. Because it doesn't.
But why didn't you do it before?
I didn't
Because
want to.
you were mad.
I didn't feel like it. Yeah. If you're mad at somebody, I'm not going to love you because I don't feel.
You're not
like
going
I
to tell
love
somebody because
Yeah,
you don't feel
I don't feel it. I don't.
Right.
I don't feel it. If I don't love you, I don't feel I'm not going to say it. So I never.
See, that's sometimes what goes back to doing what's right.
Yes.
Right.
It's better to just say it and do it because eventually you will feel something for that person if
Yes.
you do it. And that's what some of my conflict is. I had a chance because he told me he loved me plenty of times, but I've heard it so many times over the years from him that I didn't even know if he loved me. I mean, I knew he loved me.
He would say it, but his actions didn't always say it.
Exactly. He'd say, "Oh, yeah, and I love you," but I'm like, that's like a generic love. I
Right,
don't know
but
if that's
he had
real.
his own. He had his
But
own way.
he had his own way of loving. But I knew he loved me and my sister and my mom a lot because towards the end, that's all he'd talk about. And like you could tell he had real love for us. As he was dying, all those layers of the onion came out. And then we saw the real person that was there for a long time.
So what would you have told him other than I love you? What you did tell him. What else would you have said to him?
I appreciate everything you've done for me, even though it wasn't a lot. I did tell him that he looked like Mum Ra when he was dying. I did tell him that as a joke because we were in there and we were trying to joke around, and that's how skinny he was, and his face looked like Mum Ra from the Thundercats. So he was trying to laugh, but he was trying to laugh because we were laughing, but he couldn't laugh because he was on pain medicine. But he liked the joke because I think that's the first time we've ever been a family in like 30 years. Because my mom and him divorced when we were like 13.
Right.
So us being together right before he died was kind of a irony in a way.
Because your mom was there too.
Yeah.
Your
my
mom, your
was there.
sister,
Yeah.
and you and
Yeah,
your dad.
correct.
Okay.
So we're the only ones that were there for him when he died. No one else showed up. So that's all I'd say for him. That's it. So I'm going to work on myself, work on trying to find something.
Yeah, I hope you definitely find you a therapist, bro.
I'm telling you now.
You need it.
This is weird, man. I didn't think I'd be bothered this long, but this is
definitely need it.
This is bothering me, man. Like I could, like every time I go in that room, our dog sleeps in the room now. Every morning she goes in there and lies there for like 2 or 3 hours.
Yeah, she does keep going. I was looking for her the other day, and she was in there.
I guess him and her had some type of bond, and I thought it was just, why is she in the room lying down? I went in there last night. She was lying in there again, like waiting for him to come back. It was really weird, and she just lays there. And
but he didn't like one of the things about Ian is that he didn't like the dogs at first. We have 2 dogs.
He said he didn't like the dogs.
And he said he'd shoo them, but after a while, that's how dogs are. That's how I think dogs always wear people down.
Dogs sense good though. They sense good.
So he eventually the dogs would like him, and because he would go out and they would follow him outside, especially your dog Maddie.
Yeah, I love
She would
Maddie.
follow him, and now Maddie is the one that's in his room all the time,
laying down, just waiting for his spirit to come back. So
interesting.
Oh, it's weird, man. But thank you, Natalie. Thank you for letting me express myself, being vulnerable again. I guess there's nothing else you can do. Just talk about it. Help somebody else going through the same thing.
Yeah, everybody grieves in their own way or deals with these emotions in their own way. So it's always good to hear others' perspectives, I think.
I can't wait. I guess, I don't know what we're going to talk about after this, but join us on the next platform. Follow all the streaming platforms, whatever they are, Spotify, iTunes.
You're all over the place.
I don't know what to talk about, man. You finish
Find
this
the
off,
Family
Natalie.
Mess on all platforms. We appreciate you guys listening, and we hope to hear you back on the next episode.
Thank you.
Or to have you back. You don't hear you back. You have you back.
Thank you. Should I talk about the website or just not talk about that now?
We ain't got all that.
All right. Thank you guys for listening. God bless.
I love the Family Mess. Oh my.